statement that you made just after I walked in here. You said it's not. You don't think it's helpful to do diplomacy with Israel or anyone else in public. What are you doing up here every day then?
I'm explaining our national policies. I'm not doing diplomacy with you, Matt. I'm explaining our diplomacy.
Well, that's doing diplomacy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So you're a diplomat now, Matt?
The idea of, no, God, no. I'm incapable.
I think there was contempt dripping from his voice.
Of being that duplicitous.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
What is public diplomacy then, if it is not? I mean, I don't understand. If you explain every day.
There's public diplomacy and there is private diplomacy.
Yes, exactly.
We're not going to do our private diplomacy here at the podium.
But you give diplomatic statements every day to stuff, the comments that world leaders make and to actions that other governments take.
No, of course. We do public diplomacy in public. We do private diplomacy in private.
And everything that has to do with Israel or anyone else is all private diplomacy?
We make plenty of statements with regard to Israel every day. I speak about Israel pretty much every day here, as I did again today. Saeed?
Yeah, but the question...
Saeed, go ahead.
But the question was, why was this subject of red lines something that had to be of a private nature?
And again, I've said that we...
Who decides that's private versus... I mean, it's something that affects populaces around the world.
We're looking for the most constructive way to work with our ally on one of the most important and dangerous issues in the world, and we'd like to do that through our private diplomacy. And we do speak about where we are in general from this podium, but I've gone as far as I want to go today.
But the other side has decided it's a public matter for them.
And that is their right and decision to do.
Can I just ask, would you say that the diplomacy that's being done with Iran is also unhelpful to it's also unhelpful to do it in public, and it hasn't been being done in public?
Well, as you know, we don't have our own embassy in Tehran. That changes the nature of the way we can do things, but obviously we have public messages to Iran. We have private messages to Iran in the P5+1.
Exactly. So you weren't trying to say that you don't have any diplomatic contact with Iran?
I was not trying to say that. I was not trying to say that.
So
let's move on, Matt.
Does that have to do, is that public or private? Is that public or private?
We have public messaging to Iran, and we have private can I finish my sentence?
Yes.
We have private contacts in the P5+1.
But you say that it's not helpful to do this stuff in public, and yet and that you've made the decision that you get more results by doing the private diplomacy. If the P5+1 is in fact private diplomacy, what results have you gotten out of it? What exactly have the Iranians done to show you that you've been successful in getting them to come clean on their nuclear intentions?
Well, as we've made clear, including when the Secretary was in the Middle East about a month ago, we haven't seen the kind of response from the Iranians that we are looking for, and we're continuing to press for that. We've been absolutely clear about that.
Hasn't worked. So, correct? So I'm just wondering, I guess that the deal is, I mean, unless you're willing to tell us that you've told the Iranians in private that there are red lines, I mean, how do they know what to do? It's because
we've been absolutely clear with the Iranians in the P5+1 context what we are looking for in the context of proposals from them for a step-by-step process to bring the international community the reassurance that it needs about the Iranian nuclear program. We don't have any doubt that they know what we're looking for. They have to make a fundamental decision whether they're going to take advantage of this P5+1 diplomatic opportunity.
Then just the last thing on this. So how would you rank the effectiveness of what the P5+1 has been doing for the past several years, considering that Iran hasn't done anything that you guys have wanted it to?
Again, as we've said, the door is open for diplomacy. We hope Iran will take advantage of it. If they fail to take advantage of it, the pressure is going to continue to increase as it has over these many months. Unprecedented amounts of international economic pressure. It is on Iran now. That's what brought them to the table in the first place, and that pressure is going to increase.
Fair enough. But if the idea is that you had to do this private diplomacy because you want results, how would you give the grade? How would you give your what kind of grade would you give getting no results? What is that? Is that an A or is that an F?
I am obviously not going to be giving anybody's diplomacy, including ours, a grade.